Oh, hey, Dusty. I'm still sending out links, so give me a minute. Oh, sorry about that, Kendra. I'll try my best to remember. My memory's not really that great. So just wanted to give you that heads up. But like I said, I'll try my best. Okay, and I believe we are set. So yeah, let's get to the main screen. All right. Good evening, everyone. Yeah, sorry for the late start. It took a bit longer than I thought it would to make, and I wanted to set up some videos to react to since I've got a long vacation coming up and kind of want something to, at the very least, post. So, oh, hey, Alex. All right, let's go ahead and get to the screen. All right, so let's see. I think I'll go ahead and do a reaction to Rerez's video on the Ouya failure since been in my recommendations for some reason. Oh, that's good. Figure I may as well give it a watch since I haven't really looked at Rerez's content in a good while, so I may as well. Alright, go ahead and get the footage up. Oh, yeah. I make sure that
2013 was a year of console launches. We welcomed platforms like the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One.
okay,
and start
yeah.
to let
The sound's working. So, yeah, let's go ahead and watch while I go ahead and draw stuff. Alright. Oh, yeah. I should also get my headphones on since I don't really want any echoing. Okay. Alright.
2013 was a year of console launches. We welcomed platforms like the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. And start to let the previous
Well, debatably the Xbox One. Anyways. But yeah, we all know how that ended.
year's Wii U gather a fine layer of dust that would stay there
forever.
But
Yeah, no, I'd still prefer the Wii U over the Xbox One. At least the Wii U had exclusives.
there was one other console that developed quite a lot of buzz that year. It's around here somewhere. One sec. Aha!
No, not really. Did you try refreshing? Let me check. I go. Can't see my black footage for some reason. Oh, hey, Frux. I'm currently checking my stream real quick. Yeah, it's not freezing. I think it might be your PC. Alright, so anyway, back to this.
The
Watch.
Ouya! This little guy promised some pretty great things, but could the ideas behind a console the size of a Rubik's Cube change the landscape of video games? Ooh, yeah. No.
Okay, say what you will about the Switch 2, its punishment, and use games and ROMs. Yeah, that was just classic Nintendo shit. They've been doing that for years. Also, saying that I need to make this invisible.
Oh. This unassuming brushed metal box might not seem like much, but when mainstream media got word of its potential existence, woo! It was a whirlwind of excitement. This sucker was to be a new kind of gaming console, a wake-up call for video games. And of course, who could possibly forget a destroyer of Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo? This? Forbes thought this was the harbinger of doom for the big three? Well,
Yeah, I don't get that. Even the Ouya's own Kickstarter claimed it wasn't really trying to kill any competition. To my knowledge, it did at one point. Yeah, they are a very interesting niche. I mean, the Vita was technically considered a micro console, or at least the PS Live was, and actually had a very thriving indie scene for a good while. But of course, you know how that story ended.
it certainly might be a four-letter word for the apocalypse, but not for the companies Forbes had in mind. Let's see where all this began with founder Julie Ehrman in Ouya's 2012 reveal pitch video.
I love video games, but more and more people are moving away from the television.
False! There were a number of systems still being sold that same year that became some of the best-selling video game consoles of all time. But do go on.
There's a lot of
Yeah. Kind of. Okay, what? This is actually a bit of a... Okay, as Stop Skeletons from Fighting actually pointed out, this was actually a valid concern for the game industry, especially since a lot of people just start to pivot away from the handheld consoles and such. But of course, PS4 kinda didn't. Kind of proved them wrong. Okay, let's see. That's still not scam to me. I would call it a silicon scam. Especially since, well, it kind of did deliver. It just delivered a really shit product. Also, yeah. Also, sorry. Kendra, the video is kind of pauses whenever I have something to say. It's what I ultimately do during reactions. But yeah, it's not a silicon scam. It's just a bunch of people who went way in over their heads for a product that ultimately didn't deliver. And, well, sometimes a shit product is a shit product.
Focus today on the mobile and web platform. It's easier to develop games for those platforms than the television.
True, mobile phone gaming was on the rise, and it was easier and cheaper for developers to make and sell games for phones. But what does that have to do with the Ouya?
Ouya is a new game console for the television that's built on Android open source technology. It's an inexpensive game console for gamers. All the games are free to try. There's a lot of hurdles for developers to get games onto the television. Developing is extremely expensive. I love the television, and I want those games on the television.
Ah, I get it. It's a smartphone in a box that makes it cheaper for game developers to get their games on a
television.
While Julie clearly has a mean case of televigitis,
I love the television.
what I'm hearing here doesn't sound half bad. A cheap console loaded with cheaper, smaller games that also have free trials. That could be fun, right? Oh, and unlike smartphones at the time, you could play it all on the
television.
They seem to think the TV is crucial in all of this, but was it the most essential element of a game console? They didn't think so.
Yeah, it's ultimately why I actually say this thing wasn't actually a scam, just a terrible product. If it was a scam, they wouldn't have. They would have just cut and run like every other Kickstarter product. I mean, let's face it, every Kickstarter scam kind of just does that instead of try and deliver.
Important part of this to us is the controller.
We really focus a lot on what gamers are looking for. Precise controls, tactility, right sizing.
This is gonna be all kinds of hilarious in a few minutes, but before we even talk about their controller, and we will, I think we need to hear just what kind of video games their video game console is actually getting.
We'll have all the game genres you love. Shooters, platformers, sports, and RPGs.
Yep, that's all of them.
We'll have games from major game publishers and indies too. We'll have a full store of games, all free to play. Minecraft is going to be on it.
Wow, major publishers on top of the indie community were gonna back this thing, and all these games are gonna have free demos? I mean, no other console did all of this while making the games free to try. Folks, that's kind of a big deal. But Ouya's initial software showcase didn't exactly have the wow factor of an aspiring new console. I mean, sure, it had Minecraft, but that was already available on PCs and phones, actually, and the Xbox 360, and it also had a free trial. so it doesn't really contribute much. So?
And don't forget the Vita. I believe 3DS port was in the works until it got canceled. It really, Minecraft was being ported to literally every fucking thing. Crying out loud, it was on primitive mobile phones before the PC version was ultimately ported on there.
Is there anything else you can actually do with this thing?
It's open for hackers that want to tweak the box and make it their own. This is a big undertaking. Effectively, we're trying to disrupt an established industry.
Disrupt the establishment, hack the hardware, make it your own, man. I'm doing my part. His name is Oogie, and he kickstarts my heart, man.
Kickstarter is a phenomenal place where early ideas can get supported by those people that are going to want to use it. And this product will not happen without their support. And when we raise this money, it means that we have arrived, that there is a need for an open game console, and that there is support from gamers and developers alike.
Let's stop the video there. Yeah, the Ouya was a crowd-funded Kickstarter campaign, and we could poke holes in it all day long, but this video worked. The Ouya was part of a wave of campaigns in 2012 that propelled Kickstarter's popularity immensely. That same year, we saw successful Kickstarters from Double Fine, In Exile, Oculus VR, and Cloud Imperium Games. Boy, it's great to be living nearly a decade later and have all those things I just mentioned be long since finished and entirely playable.
My name.
Okay. Well, yeah. A lot of Kickstarter projects tend to be absolute trash and or scams. You gotta remember, Kickstarter also delivered a lot of really good things, like frickin' Undertale, the Bloodstain, there was... Can't remember. Actually, there's a lot of Kickstarter projects I... Let's see, okay. Oh yeah, Shantae Half Genie Hero. That one was also a successful campaign. There's also Ukulele, which, okay, granted wasn't entirely great when it released. It got better over time.
Is Chris Roberts, and I would like to build a universe with you.
But as for Ouya, it raised $8.5 million, nearly 9 times their original project goal. Press coverage of this underdog game machine kept the support rolling on in. Yes, cash was piling up. Yes, enthusiasm for the little indie box that could was high. But the console and its pitch had its fair share of skeptics too. And seriously, who could blame them? At $99, the console price point was head-scratchingly low. But what did that cost get you? Well, one of those
The most important part
controllers and one brand spanking new Ouya console. The system was loaded with smartphone specs, a far cry from the competition on the market at the time, because let's not forget, it launched the same year as the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. Ouya was so cheap that it was closer to the cost of a PlayStation 4 controller than a PlayStation 4 console. That was pretty incredible. It really was a budget console for budget gamers and budget-oriented developers. It sounds crazy, but this could actually work out and become a home run.
Yeah, it even sounds crazy nowadays since everything's fucking expensive. Hashtag PC Master Race.
The Ouya team had to do was line up some great games, ship those consoles, and not mess up their PR.
Does everybody know what the Ouya console is? Can I get a show of hands? Do you know? Okay. Who's a backer? Really? Just these two people here, three?
Oh, come on.
Almost as many backers as there are letters in the console name.
It's not my lunch. I don't know.
Have
I'm
you
sure
guys
the people that raise their hands have seen these.
You packed your early prototype console in a child's paper lunch bag? You don't pack extremely rare and important tech in a freaking paper bag. What if you dropped it? Are you kidding?
Well, Randy Pitchford did store his porn in a flash drive, which he later lost in a medieval fantasy diner. Yeah, that was a weird story. Yeah, I already know that fact. It's but good luck trying to get people to give up on a meme. Unless it's actually attached to a school shooter, in which case, yeah, that meme will in fact die.
Kidding me?
When you ask the question about what makes it challenging, like, there is nothing special about this board. Nothing. Like, nothing.
I think she's saying the quiet part loud and the loud part quiet.
Oh, you didn't answer the launch. How many launch titles?
I don't know.
What?
How many launch titles?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know.
Look, I'm not the CEO of Nintendo, but even I can tell you what launched with most of their systems. How do you not know what is launching with your totally off-the-shelf, unspecial sandwich sack console?
Our controller has a touchpad. You're not going to find that somewhere else. And the reality is...
The new PlayStation 4 controller has a touchpad,
That's
doesn't
true.
it?
They could build it for that.
So,
You don't think your console's special.
There is nothing special about this board.
You don't know what's launching with it.
I don't know.
You're completely unaware of your competition.
the new PlayStation 4 controller has a touchpad,
That's
doesn't
true.
it?
Oh, and you store your prototype console next to your Dunkaroos. Okay. That didn't go so smooth.
Yeah, like I know these guys are independent console developers, but yeah, let's be real. They could have planned this better. Just find out what's launching with the Ouya. Give technical specifications, but make it a bit more appealing by explaining that's how it's gonna be made a whole lot cheaper. And stored in a reusable lunch bag. Those are actually a lot more visually appealing. Unironically.
Smoothly. But a few trip-ups at one live Q&A are by no means the end of the world. The console's still releasing on time, after all. Off-the-shelf components.
There is nothing special about this.
Delayed 3 weeks. Okay, I'll give you another mulligan, Ouya. Delays do happen. Can you at least professionally promote your product at a trade show?
Ouya Park is open every single day of E3 from 9 to 7. We have happy hour from 4 to 7 with free beer and K-Rock DJing live, so come on down.
Beer? What about the games?
So come on down. And play great games.
Are you really complaining about free beer? I know a fucking nerd that could actually enjoy that. But yeah, probably not the best idea to mimic the infamous strategy of Bethesda. Lest we forget Bethesda land. Ah, boy. So many heat stroke cases.
Can they professionally promote their product, period? Was that an axe? We are really not seeing the most competent build-up to the launch of the Ouya, but on June 25th,
And yeah, the less we talk about the animated commercial, the better. You do not want to see the animated commercial. Don't even look it up. I know for a fact the Ouya devs look upon that thing in shame. Unironically.
2013, the console finally hit its pushed-back retail launch. Good news. That is, unless you backed the freaking Kickstarter. Financial supporters of the original Ouya campaign, you know, the people that brought the console to life with their own hard-earned money, were supposed to be the first to receive the final product. It was guaranteed. Unfortunately, many original backers were left waiting while non-backers could just stroll into a retail shop and snap one up. Ouya's die-hard supporters were now very angry, but the developers were okay, right? Well, over on the development side, the Ouya team announced the Free the Games Fund, their way of giving back to the indie dev community, and possibly securing some tasty Ouya exclusives. Here's how it works. Basically, a developer entered their game and promised Ouya 6 months exclusivity on their platform. And if they could raise more than $50,000 on Kickstarter, this fund would match that amount in support of up to $250,000. The participants that raised the most would even get a prize of an additional $100,000. Great. No, that's good. Shouldn't be hard for humble-sized developers to take on a campaign and drum up 50,000 magical dollars. It's not like Ouya was pitched as a console tailored for...
Oh yeah, spoiler alert! That initiative was full of scammers. Yeah. Not even the Ouya was safe from the kick scammers.
Developers with monetary constraints to have a place to release their dream projects that wasn't price gated like Ouya's big boy competitors.
That's what Ouya is going to bring back to gaming. You're not limited by how much money you have in the bank or how many people you work with.
Could this ingenious scheme to get exclusive games possibly go wrong? Oh yeah. Free the Games Fund entrants Elementary My Dear Homes, The Eye of Draconis, and Gridiron Thunder were accused of having unsavory donation activity. This ranged from suspicious backers to developers freely admitting that they were gaming the system. Gridiron Thunder alone accumulated $171,000 from only 183 backers. After an empty-feeling Ouya blog response and retooling aspects of the Free the Games Fund,
Sometimes you have to put a project out there to get that feedback to know how to make it better.
many creators were less than impressed with Ouya. The company no longer came off as being truly in support of small creative teams. But surely they were still pro-consumer. That crisp, newly distributed Ouya and its loyal adopters were the company's #1 main focus. You're kidding me. 4 months after the Ouya hit retail, the company publicly announced that they were already planning a revamped controller and second iteration of their console. They actually hope to ship an Ouya 2.0 in 2014. Good news! That didn't happen.
Well, that's actually a shame that didn't happen, because if you find out about a lot of the Ouya's problems, you'd actually be hoping one would actually come around. Then again, after hearing about the other problems around the Ouya, yeah, maybe it was for the best, actually. Yeah, never mind.
Because they probably didn't have the money to launch another console so quickly. Bad news. The company was about to trash a promise they made to their backers that helped them raise all that money in the first place.
It's an inexpensive game console for gamers. All the games are free to try.
One of the things that Ouya is doing is bringing the best model of games today to the television. So we believe that every single game you should try before you buy.
When the Ouya Discover storefront first launched, all titles were required to be free to try. That is, they had to have some kind of free demo, which sure does sound nice, right? This seemed like a pro-consumer approach.
But bam!
In 2014, free demos no longer required. In an official blog post, the canceling of free to try was apparently in support of developers. Now sure, that does sound like a possibility, but I don't think it's true. What I think was actually going on was something that was far more of a serious problem to Ouya. According to CEO Julie Ehrman, in Ouya's very first month on the market with the free to try model, 73% of Ouya owners had not purchased a single title on the storefront. 73%! That means...
Yeah, that's kind of a thing with the demos. Occasionally, some developer... You see, demos often require an early build of the game in order to, you know, make sure you're not pirating in the game in some way. But other lazy developers would ultimately just use the game itself and, well, put a paywall behind it so you just buy the game as soon as it comes out. But as you could probably tell with a pro hacking console, that didn't work. Like, at all. In fact, hackers would very often remove paywalls first. Of course, live services wouldn't even care since most of the money comes out of microtransactions. If you're an indie game maker, that's a death knell. Oh boy.
Is that for roughly every 4 people that purchased an Ouya, only 1 actually bothered to buy a game. Yikes. So why weren't people buying games for this cube? Could it be that 3/4 of Ouya users were satiated with game demos alone? Ouya, what happened? Your hardware was delivered, you nailed your price point, your PR was a nightmare. But hey, selling games? That was supposed to be the easy part. There's gotta be more to this. And I guess there's only one way to get the whole picture. It's time that we went hands-on with the Ouya. Before we poke this tiny console to life, let's just take a look at this bad boy.
There is nothing special about this board. Nothing.
Julie, I'd go one step further and say that there is nothing special about this box at all. Honestly, it didn't even make a great doorstop. Compared to its contemporaries, it's much smaller because it really is just tiny cell phone parts in an itty-bitty case. You're gonna set this thing up and likely rarely touch it again. But the controller it comes with? Oh boy! I've got concerns.
The most important part of this to us is the controller.
See, you say that, but no, you clearly didn't care. This is one of the worst.
Yes, the controller. The other thing that screamed the death knell of the console. Spoiler alert! There was input lag. All the fucking time. And people wonder why they saw these things on store shelves all the time.
Official bundled console controllers I've ever used. Brand new, straight out of the box, the right shoulder button was broken. It doesn't click in the way the left shoulder button does. The home button is in the lower center of the controller's face where you can accidentally hit it when you use your right thumbstick. The D-pad, mushy. The face buttons, stiff. And worst of all, if you press too hard, they can get jammed beneath the controller's faceplate. Oh, and the faceplates? They're attached with a handful of magnets. Removing and replacing them not only feels cumbersome, but it makes the build feel cheap. Instead of putting a single battery compartment on the back, like an Xbox One or 360 controller, they are in two compartments underneath the faceplates that makes the controller feel far less structurally sound, leading to a very loose feeling build overall, which is probably why they skipped out on putting rumble.
Okay, fine. The thing was cheap, but it didn't have to feel cheap, is what he's saying. Oh, hey Ray, I'm reacting to a re-res video while drawing.
On the controller, because if they did, it would probably shake itself apart. The most frustratingly confusing design choice though, not including a start or select button. This should have been standard, folks, and it's a huge misstep. If developers wanted to port their games over from another platform that did have start or select, or if gamers wanted to emulate older games, they'd likely need to do some serious button reconfiguration. Moving on, let's go ahead and start the device. The menu layout is pretty simple and functional. Not surprising, as at its core, it really is just an Android device. In fact, there are tons of options and visuals here that look just like what you would get in a basic Android phone. Instead of making a new, finely tailored OS from the ground up like what Sony or Nintendo would have done, Ouya saved big bucks by sticking with thinly altered smartphone software. Typically, this would be a bad move, but in this case, it's the only thing they didn't f up. Ouya team made some specialized options.
Yeah, like I said, it was a cheap console. So, having the OS be an Android, just a reskin of an Android device, was ultimately expected from the backers. So, no one really complained about that per se. Just everything else.
Like the make section for people to create games. But the majority of consumers out there wanted to play games, not make them. So let's see what this little box of dreams can actually do. That brings us to Discover, the Ouya storefront. You've got your new games and your best rated, of which several seem to be emulators for other systems. Probably one of the reasons why 3/4 of Ouya customers weren't buying games. They were emulating them. But don't get us wrong, Ouya did.
Yeah, I would probably have invested in a Pi console if that were the case. They were far better made, is what I'm saying.
It'd have lots of real standalone titles on its storefront, ones you could buy. So let's crack the old knuckles and warm up our official Ouya controller and dive in.
Yeah, that's probably gonna happen in a while.
You'd probably think we'd start immediately listing off a bunch of terrible games. Well, no, we're not gonna do that. There are some legitimately fantastic games either officially ported to or exclusively released to the console. Games like Final Fantasy III, The Bard's Tale, and Oddworld Stranger's Wrath. Some titles are ported over well enough, but others are Oddworld Stranger's Wrath. This game runs worse than its original Xbox release.
Go next door.
Shocking, seeing as how the Xbox
That's not your, that's not the stream's footage, by the way. That's actually how the game runs. I mean, it's kind of hard to screw up the Final Fantasy III remake ports. It is literally a remake of a Nintendo game, is what I'm saying. Oh, damn, really? And holy shit. Yeah, I really had no hope.
Xbox version came out the better part of a decade before the Ouya version. There are plenty of games with varying degrees of quality. Some ports are by teams obviously not focused on properly supporting this platform. Many games are just Android versions that feel like they hastily shoved in support for the Ouya controller, which again, wasn't so hot. But did that mean that Ouya was devoid of decent original games? No, not at all. In fact, this is, in my opinion, the crown jewel of the system, Towerfall. This game perfectly encapsulated what creative titles on the Ouya could be. A simple, non-taxing concept expertly achieved. A well-controlling platformer deathmatch game that could bring together friends for hours on end. It utilized...
And, yeah, spoiler alert. It got ported everywhere later on. And, actually, is there a sequel out? I can never remember. Towerfall. Apparently not, but there are expansions. And, hey, hold on. Made by... Oh, so the creator of Towerfall Ascension actually made Celeste. Alright, yeah, that's better than the sequel. Let's see, and a system where you exchange gallery to win a max amount of things before you just the job. I never really noticed that. I mean, did the penalty really matter considering that the game makes you grind every 5 minutes just to get through the end game? This is literally the game that had the worst fucking final dungeons of all time, you know? Okay, I had the Towerfall Ascension of PS4 got for 3 lol. Yeah, same. I know, I should really play Celeste.
solid combat mechanics with a smart use of physics, and has gone on to inspire games with similar designs to this day. It's no surprise that Towerfall is Ouya's absolute bestseller. It is Ouya's killer app. So, how did it perform commercially? 7,000 copies. Towerfall's first huge year in the Ouya's ecosystem, and it sold 7,000 copies. That's the console's best-selling game, people. But surely it's not the platform's fault. Towerfall obviously didn't perform better outside of the Ouya space, right? Oh wait, it did. When freed from niche micro-console exclusivity, iterations and ports of Towerfall eclipsed its sales with Ouya immensely. Ouya's most successful, replayable, and critically acclaimed game was a disaster. Those quick port-pushing companies we mentioned earlier? Yeah, they likely didn't make a nickel, but those quick ports, they weren't even the worst experiences released on the system. Oh, that's right. You don't even know what we're about to get into, folks. I think it's about time we explore some of the most questionable and bizarre content we've ever shown on this channel. Butt. Butt is a game where a cloud throws objects at your butt. What kinds of objects? Well, regular things like teddies, nut, God's dish, and sword. If you drop these things, you lose respect. And we all know how every butt wants mad respect. You must get the items in the bin on the right or in the jug thing on the left. How does butt accomplish this? Butt has no hands, butt has no legs. Butt has only butt. Fart butt. Fart. Now, before you think this game gets too juvenile, know that when you fart enough Dash or Roger Nim rockets into those side bins, you will unlock a single scene infographic. These showcase prominent historical figures, founding fathers.
It's a shitpost game. What am I supposed to say about it? Rerez is struggling to say anything about it.
Benjamin Franklin, German philosopher Immanuel Kant. Feels like they're trying to stuff some educational content where the sun don't shine. But this ain't the only edutainment.
Yeah, exactly. No comment here.
Title on the console, Esperanto Animals. Ever want to point at an animal and scream its name in the world's most widely spoken international auxiliary language?
Aglo. Aglo.
How about an egg?
Ovo. Ovo. Ovo.
Well, have we got the game for you?
Kato. 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 Kato.
Congratulations.
I'm actually from the States, but yeah, I can't articulate anything either. Yeah, maybe that's why no one really talks about the Ouya. Even its weirder games are just shit you can just say, ah, that was weird. Anyways. Like, you've legitimately seen weirder shit, and you could actually comment on it.
You can now say cat in a language that 0.001% of the population of Earth understands. Next game. Blaine Banana Tree. This is a game about planting banana trees on a desert island. You can choose to either eat your yum yum bananas or stab them right into the flesh of the earth. Hey look, more banana trees and more bananas. This is the entire game.
Okay, that's it. that's exactly why I can't really comment on the Ouya shit. This shit, all the shitpost games feel like freaking Steam Greenlight games. You know, the games that just get posted on Steam for literally no other reason than to just make weird shit and lazily make weird shit and then just somehow get paid for it. It's literally just a bunch of asset flips thrown together and ultimately, and unsurprisingly, Steam Greenlight also had cases of corruption and black market shit. Why do you think they shut it down? And none of the shit was memorable either. The only thing that was memorable were the fucking awful developers. And even then, they just kind of turned tail and fled as soon as the whole shit, all the shit fell apart and no one was giving them the attention they wanted.
Do you know how to say banana in Esperanto? Repeat after me. Banano.
Banano. Banano. Banano. Banano.
Good job. We've officially wasted less of your time than Blaine Banana Tree wasted of ours.
Coconut Hunt. It's you versus Amy in the ultimate blood sport. Coconut Collection. Collect those nutters as fast as you can. Where do you put them? Coconut Hunt. Your character has a big gnarly head and constantly looks like he should be losing his balance and toppling over like the top-heavy flipper-footed creature he is. Coconut Hunt. An invisible wall in the water keeps you from swinging.
Actually, ironically, that would be a really good mechanic for the game. I should have gone with that. That at least made a good party game.
Away and drowning yourself to escape this punishment. Coconut Hunt. 3 meters of rainstorm. Coconut Hunt.
At Telerix. For anyone worried that Ouya doesn't have everyone's favorite gold trinket collecting spinny hedgehog, we say this. Ouya has Sonic CD. But if you didn't get that, worry not, sharp rodent aficionados. A Telerix is here. It's all the fun and flair of a broken Atari Jaguar tech demo from 1993. You play as a Telerix, a sea urchin.
Okay, that is an insult to the Atari Jaguar. It would have at least crashed it, and you wouldn't have been able to play the damn game. Which, in this case, is actually a frickin' benefit. Also, the Atari Jaguar had a fighting game with a Scotsman that shot fire out of his dick, so... I'm pretty sure none of these people would have testicles that massive.
Shaped hedgehog with the tip of a penis for a nose. You've got to race against the clock to collect all the hidden golden gems and thwart the wicked robo-badgers. There's gravity-defying jumps, strawberries, a song that plays, and textured cubes. What more could you need? What's that? A game that controls well, and some kind of explanation as to how the stupid gravity system works? And better level designs? But look, it can't give you any of that. But at least it's better than Sonic Forces. Sonic fans, I await your comments down below.
Days without Sonic Forces taking the L. Set back to 0. We had a good run, but we all knew it wouldn't last.
Just rain.
I mean, the ambience is good.
Ouya is a new game console for the television. It's an inexpensive game console for gamers. We'll have all the game genres you love.
I mean, we all laugh at this, but I know plenty of indie devs who would just appreciate this unironically. Let's be real here.
It's just rain. Don't eat soap. Soap is bad for you to eat. It is good for washing your hands, but very bad for you to put in your mouth. Good advice! This may seem like a game in which you press a button to keep soap from entering Bob the hamster's mouth, but no, it's secretly more. When Bob ingests the pesky bar, the game evolves into a Bubble Bobble clone, complete with popping trapped enemies and picking up fallen foodstuffs. Hey, it's Lost Head from the Goonies. Sometimes Bob can stand on thin air. The game can barely keep up if you spam your bubble shot. It's like it's breaking. I want this game scrubbed from my memory. Game Catcher, a game about...
I mean, let's be real, that was probably the more functional game on this console.
About collecting games in a video game store. This is a very accurate depiction of the sights and smells at your local GameStop. There's also
Yeah, we all knew that joke was coming. We have to put another 0 next to Days Without GameStop taking an L.
'80s mode. The gameplay is tweaked slightly to embody an '80s arcade shooter. Poorly. Speaking of the '80s strike back. Now this is a basic Defender clone, but with minor imagery from the '80s. We pilot an A-Wing from Star Wars The Empire Strikes Back. Get it? Strikes Back? Star Wars? It's a reference. Another visitor from the '80s is the sprite from the Atari 2600 version of E.T. It screams pizza while shooting small eggs and pizza out of its face. Sometimes it's best not to ask what kind of narcotic was inhaled when a game like this was envisioned. But with the '80s theming, I think we can all make a solid guess. The unbeatable egg. Take an egg.
Oval.
Take an
oval.
Make it real big, make it invincible, now roll it through a city causing untold mayhem and havoc. I wish I could say something nice about this game. Perhaps its real-time destruction and deformation physics are a really cool feature, but besides that, you seriously are not doing much. It's pretty boring. Roll an
oval.
Beat the whole game in under 3 minutes. Far from excellent.
Oval.
Excellent. Pago. Okay, hold on. Did they expect people to want to buy a game with an undulating chicken? This is a rhythm game that in no way incorporates rhythm. It's bottom of the barrel, like all the other games we just saw. How do you sell any of those to gamers who want stuff like, I don't know, Call of Duty?
$60?
Oh, god damn it. He actually did show the freaking... Alright. Nausea warning, people.
This game sucks! They screwed me! It's exactly the same game! Oh, God! $60? Oh, they did it to me again! I could have bought food! Ooh-yah!
So I can either
I'll be honest, at the very least, it's shorter than most Adult Swim cartoons. That is the nicest thing I can actually say about this.
bludgeon myself with my spine in a pool of my own vomit, or play in Ouya? I'll take the spine. Unfortunately, I'm contractually obligated to play through more of this mess, so let's keep going. Sudden Death Soccer. Everybody else gets FIFA, Ouya gets this. No options, no flair, just pirates versus humans that have 3 holes punched out of their heads. Are they supposed to be aliens? The arena has been completely vacated, except for the lunatics on the field. The physics are poor at best, and the controls leave a lot to be desired. As tradition dictates, if a goal is scored in a match of sudden death pirate alien soccer, the ball explodes, hurling everyone.
Mr. Pickles was less. Mr. Pickles was less gross than I guess how gross it was. Yeah, but this commercial is about 1 minute, and Mr. Pickles has every fucking fetish known to man in it. It played for comedy. You can play Fatal, you have to play the Ouya. Oh, you don't have to play Fatal. Actually, not related to. See it. What? No, Mr. Pickles was actually a series. It had like several episodes and no one liked it. Yeah, that was a net positive. Okay, there we go.
Everyone's droopy corpse well into the stratosphere. It also happens if the time runs out. Best game so far. Those darn nipples. Someone screams the title of the game at you while peeking their microphone. Those darn nipples! Awesome start. The way this game works is you place nipples on breasts based off a hint given to you before the current breasts are on the screen. This is a functional game, which is more than I can say for Santa's World War. This game is titled Santa's War on Terror, but the thumbnail says differently. Regardless, both titles are missing the apostrophe at the end of Santa's between the A and the S. That's attention to detail that just begs the player to dive in, isn't it? You control Santa, Santas. He throws snowballs at soldiers carrying firearms. Santa's literally brought snowballs to a gunfight. You might not think this looks great. You're correct. But I actually have the game zoomed in. Here's how it really looks. Pull her out! Look at that headroom. There's enough real estate to be playing a better game up there.
Kato.
These characters are so far away, I can't even tell what emotions they're supposed to be portraying. Are they angry at Santas? Does Santas enjoy offing people with snowballs? No one knows. If you lose, it jumps to a screen that says, submit. That actually sounds far scarier than it has any right to be. Zepto Racer. No track boundaries, terrible steering, and acceleration that goes from 0 to 10,000 in a second flat. I'd call this the most unfinished racing game I've ever played, but then I tried Zepto Racer 3D. I mean, it's the same game, but it's in 3D now. I think you can best describe the draw distance here with a confused shrug. I couldn't...
My God, I've actually seen Game Maker games that looked better than this. And I mean amateur hour Game Maker games.
Even begin to try and beat this, and I don't really think anyone else could either.
Zeus versus zombies. You play as the almighty Zeus, king of the Greek gods. Fling lightning from thine mighty hand noodles. Ha! Heathens, thus thou think thy can bestify? I blew up!
Alien Zombie Soul Hunter. Let's read the instructions. You are a green alien who has come to Earth to rescue the souls of the humans that were lost when the zombies took over.
I blew up!
Okay, well, even without instructions, I would have guessed that our character here is an alien, because he looks spaced the hell out. You go around shooting zombies and collecting purple cubes.
Kill.
The purple cubes are the human souls you're meant to collect. The zombies run at you and have undefined attack ranges, so they seem to magically hurt you at random distances. The best part is, your goal is to save those purple soul boxes, right? But some of them are just floating in the air. You don't have a jump button. So long, souls. Up there, you're gonna stay. As you blast away the undead, you find rocket ship parts which you assemble to launch those amazing cubic human souls away for reprocessing. But the rocket ship doesn't even have a flame propelling it. That's some quality work right there. Quadroville. Don't look now, folks, but it's the same developers as the last game. The graphics and controls are near identical. The only difference in gameplay is that now you're hunting down bad guys instead of fantasy floating purple cubes. Can you imagine picking up the Ouya for the first time, booting it up, and excitedly downloading either of these FPS games because you happen to be a fan of first-person shooters? Well, I can. Because I did. Oh yeah, this sure beats the hell out of Call of Duty.
Ooh yeah.
Shady's Poopong. Someone took the time to make power-ups, original art assets, record a variety of sound effects.
Yeah, Alex is right.
And make
Digital
a functioning Pong clone.
He all over this shit.
What they didn't do was properly scrub their toilet. They put more effort into coloring the turd paddles. Now, that game might seem real crappy, but this here may be the crappiest of them all. Massive Cleavage versus Zombies. It's a pun, and also, it's not. The story's pretty intricate, so please bear with us. You play as a blonde woman called Blondie. It's not explicitly said, but it's implied that this character suffers from some type of buttoning up phobia, as her blouse lies permanently drawn to the sides through the entire experience. Blondie starts the game searching for a special type of barbecue sauce. From there, she meets a charming carjacker with a unique face. Blondie goes on a whirlwind zombie chopping spree before beginning a relationship that may fan the flames of romance. Ooh la la. This game taught me something special with its use of the Ouya controller. QuickTime events that last a fraction of a second, which require the player to press face button symbols they aren't completely familiar with, is a nightmare. Contrastingly, the base gameplay is as simple as move near enemy and either attack low or high with your cleaver. Take on zombie dogs, zombie bankers, zombie muscle dudes, and housewives that show absolutely no signs of any physical ailment. Cool! Do it all again and again and again and again and again. My two favorite parts of this
goody. Ouya exclusive, people.
game were 1. When the game crashed and locked up the first time I attempted to play it, and 2. When the game told me that the Ouya controller could suffer input lag and that I should use a PlayStation 3 controller instead. You know what? I think we can stop right here, folks. A game developer who made a game for this console is telling us not to use the controller bundled with the console.
The most important part of this to us is the controller.
We really focus a lot on what gamers are looking for.
Wow. Saying that our time with Ouya has been a wild trip would be the understatement of the century. And Ouya, as a company, went on its own wild ride over its few years of service post-launch, from getting millions in investments to put its software in set-top boxes around the world to having its entire team and content library acquired by Razer in 2015. Even with its hardware discontinued in the acquisition, its software lived on well into 2019, before Razer finally pulled the plug on the storefront for good. And that about wraps up the compelling.
Yeah, I have a feeling Razer just took one look at the Ouya, gave the company money and said, "Here, have a ton of money, give us the rights. Please never make a console again." That is my headcanon of what happened. Yeah, can't convince me otherwise.
Ouya saga. This magical silver box was supposed to kickstart an indie games revolution. And well, they didn't. Half smartphone, half home console, all.
Well, technically that's correct. The indie scene was already thriving. It was just suffering from a bit of issue with an overabundance of grifters. Thankfully, thankfully, people were actually fighting back against the numerous issues the Steam Greenlight was having, even in the face of many of the fragile ego developers trying to sue the people, which, yeah, ultimately backfired in the end. But Ouya sadly didn't have that luck. Just goes to show maybe some people cannot, nor should be able to make a game.
Poor execution. Turns out gamers had plenty of better options when it came to gaming on their whatchamacallit.
For television.
Right.
Looks like Amy's confused. Coconut.
So, yeah, that was ultimately the Re-Rez's video on the Ouya. Did he lose brain cells? Yeah, so did I. And trust me, I was actually paying attention to the whole thing while it was coming out, so you can only imagine what type of shit I witnessed. Yeah, that was the end of the video. Yeah, that's kinda just how things are with re-res. Conclusions are sometimes optional. What are brain cells? In this day and age, good question. I mean, yeah, that's literally the whole thing in a nutshell. What else should he be saying about it? Alright, so let's see. Still got plenty of stuff to draw here, so yeah, let's go ahead and let's go ahead and watch his video on the Stadia. That'll be interesting. Yeah, good luck getting a refund on Kickstarter. I mean, it is a pretty huge distraction, to be fair. Alright. Well, anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and start the re-res Ouya video, so let's go ahead and swap to that. And, yeah.
Guess I could log in today and see what I can play on Stadia. Tip-a-tap, tip-a-tap.
Okay, now I know he's full of shit. Stadia did not have a freaking search function.
What? Oh no. Stadia! Stadia! Stadia!
Wherever you are, Stadia lets you play the latest game.
Stadia.
A moment of silence for all the poor people who were suckered into the Stadia. Okay, moment of silence over.
Gone, but forever burned in our memories. No, trust me, we're gonna be repeating that name for years. It'll evolve from its use as a digital games platform handle to a social lexicon label for an epic failure. Stadia? Stadia'd hard. If you're watching this, Stadia is finished. This video is set to launch the day the service is no longer available.
Yeah, I honestly kind of disagree there. Google Stadia was just kind of something that everyone forgot. Mainly because it was a Google product, and let's face it, Google has a shit ton of failures on their belt. And to be perfectly frank, I think Google Plus was far worse. So yeah, I don't think anyone will remember Stadia unless it brought up in a conversation specifically about Google. Oh yeah, remember? Ah man, Google had so many fuck-ups lately. Yeah, remember the Stadia? Ah yeah, man. Oh, on the Stadia. I don't know.
In a consumer accessible form. Now, nobody wins when any games platform goes dark prematurely. You're my one true love, boo-boo. But Stadia's failure ain't like the failures we've seen before. No, Stadia...
Yeah, at least people are still supporting the Dreamcast. It's a freaking homebrew haven. Also, there's no copy protection on the Stadia, so it still has a fuck ton of value right there.
Shuttering is something special. It's much, much worse. We've covered plenty of flunked platforms here on Rerez, the Nuon, the Hyperscan, the Gamecom, and many, many others. And while they all had different quirks and drawbacks, they share one commonality that Stadia will never be able to claim. But we'll circle back to that at the end of this here eulogy. If you've been following the Stadia saga from the beginning, then you probably know that this is not my first video on the subject. No, this is my third time covering this troubled platform. And oh, what a ride it's been. But unfortunately, I have to address something, again, for a third time, because Stadia's publicity push was run like a woozy kitten 100-yard dash. They just don't know where to go.
Adorable.
Adorable. Some of you still don't know what Stadia is. At this point, Google ought to be paying me to repeat this, but fine. Okay, one last time. Stadia is a streaming video game service created by Google. It works much like Netflix or YouTube, but imagine if Netflix charged you full disc price for each movie you wanted to stream. Yeah, I still can't believe they messed that one up. A title is loaded on Stadia servers far away and then streamed to your screen. This allows you to play a game without a console, gaming PC, or any kind of complicated hardware. It's the video game streaming vision of the future. Oh, right. Service is dead. Okay, how did we get here? Well, if you've seen our other videos, you know stuff went wrong. Really wrong. If you haven't, I recommend checking those out before enjoying this one, but heck, here's a short recap anyway. In our first video, we explored the lead up and aftermath of Stadia's terrible launch. Customers didn't get their pre-orders on time. There was a tiny library of games to play, and the streaming experience was inconsistent at best. This new product positioned itself as a home console competitor, and during its first operational year, they lagged behind the competition in every possible way. The team at Stadia wanted us to believe that things would only get better, and that the future was bright for Stadia. But we witnessed a lot that painted those hopes as dubious at best. But we capped our initial impression with a ray of hope that maybe things could be fixed. Yeah, that didn't happen.
To say the least. Yeah, let's be clear. If Google's behind it, they'll drop it like a sack of bricks. On top of you. And then sell your personal information out of it, just to be petty. Exactly like Microsoft.
Anyway, we figured we'd let the Stadia cake bake just a little bit longer and come back to it. In our second video, we spoke about how the service did improve. Stadia was available in more locations and was even becoming more stable, which was cool. However, the streaming experience was still inconsistent from user to user. We dealt with performance issues that left us shaking our heads. And while other services allowed you to download—
Yeah, I personally blame the fact that it was a streaming console. Let's be real here, a streaming console is really only as good as your internet. If your internet's dog shit, your experience is always going to be dog shit. Unfortunately. It's also the one main disadvantage of the Switch's game service, which also is constantly online, but at the very least you're playing ROM, so not really that much of an issue to try and get to work.
download games locally to compensate for streaming setbacks like Xbox Game Pass Ultimate or PlayStation Now, Stadia was incapable of offering a similar solution. Stadia seemed to struggle to expand its market share while its hardware-based competition offered streaming games and additional benefits. By the end of our second venture, we were sure that unless Stadia made drastic changes, it wouldn't be part of the gaming landscape, it would be under it. But who could say when?
Okay, yeah, here's a bit of advice. If you're trying to compete with someone else and you can't offer any of the services that your competitor provides at the bare minimum, don't compete. Just never compete. Because if you can't provide any of the stuff, no one's going to like you. Like, at all. I mean, sure. Blue Sky has less features than freaking Twitter. But that's only... Blue Sky only succeeded because Elon, in his infinite wisdom, decided to make his freaking social platform a political statement. Which is, don't use the platform unless you are in fact a fucking Nazi. And guess what? That did not fly with a lot of people. How can Elon be one of those tech millionaires who just shuts his frickin' mouth? I've probably succeeded in that regard.
Hi Ken! This is when. If our first video was about the platform's birth, and our second video was about its life, then this video
is about its death.
It's really sad. So, we decided to highlight the major issues that led Stadia, a service primed to change the way we play games, directly into the Google graveyard. It's a great tapestry of faults, and it all starts with...
Problem 1. Internet connection dependency.
Okay, to begin, I'm gonna give this service praise straight up. Stadia, sometimes with specific network hardware with a fast and reliable internet connection depending on where you lived and what you tried to play it on, worked well enough. You can quote me on that. And if that sounds confusing, welcome to the club. If you had a good setup and lived in the right area, Stadia could work, and many people...
Yeah, starting to see the problem here. That is a very specific market you're trying to sell to. Yeah, 1 second. Yeah, sorry, I thought someone was knocking on the door. Turns out someone was just working on something in the kitchen. Oh, I feel stupid. Let's see, yeah, wait, where was I? Right. Yeah, this is a very specific market that you're trying to appeal to. People who have internet connection in 24/7. Yeah, here's the problem. Internet providers, in the States at least, are notoriously cutthroat and fucking awful. They will, most of the time, throttle your internet out of spite, or just fail to provide adequate internet. Because, let's be real here, in rural areas, internet don't come easy. And yeah, guess what? The rural areas are also a very huge, tend to be pretty huge frickin' in parts of the market. Heck, some of them don't have a lot of them don't even have wireless internet. So yeah, this was basically a pretty hard sell from the get-go, and tech companies, for whatever reason, never seem to get this through their skulls. Always online things are freaking terrible. It is a terrible idea that you should never pursue. Like, people didn't even hear of the frickin' the Xbox's frickin' biggest scandal.
Can attest to that. But depending on where you were and what you tried to play it on, it could have problems. That remained an issue from cradle to grave. It was never fixed because you can't really remedy that unless you're willing to improve every single person's internet connection. Look, if you were a fan of Stadia and you're furiously tip-tapping in the comments,
"Hey, Stadia worked for me!"
yes, friend, it may have, but that just meant you were lucky. Fast, reliable internet is still not the norm. It's a core problem some supporters of the platform failed to realize. It worked for you, cool, but it had to work for everyone else, and it didn't. But at the very least, even if you struggled to play Stadia properly as it trudged through life, there was hope that games would come out to expand the platform and give you good reason to keep playing this exciting service that Google was clearly heavily invested in.
Problem 2. Stadia closed its internal studios.
Yup, Stadia shut down their internal video game development groups. And if you ask me, this was when its downfall was first being written on the wall, and where I first thought, oh, this thing's over. Platforms live and die with exclusive content offerings, and if the company didn't see the value of investing in their own service, making use of their platform in unique ways, well, who else would?
Okay, I actually have to comment on this because this shutdown story was far worse than being described here. Because the Stadia actually didn't let anybody know that they were about to shut their studios down. Up until their freaking closure. Yeah, the studios that were working on the games were completely blindsided that they were being shut down. That is fucking scummy. And completely in character with Google now that I think about it.
Look, take the history of something like Netflix, one of the first big streaming subscription-based film and TV platforms ever. They started by providing mostly known content with a stable watching experience, and it was good. But they didn't stop there. They invested in their brand, funding an expanded library of content with productions that you could only find in their ecosystem.
We do not talk about cuties. Never talk about cuties. Don't even look up cuties.
That's when the company took off. Alls I'm saying is Stadia had Google backing them. Google, a big name with big money pushing video game streaming, it could have worked. And since game streaming wasn't being tackled by too many large companies at the time, they could have gotten a huge lead on inevitable competition by stockpiling their own unique games. But they didn't. They shut down their development studios before they were able to release a single game. Ouch. No first-party titles? Well, that doesn't mean the service couldn't have been bolstered by outside creatives, right? Third-party developers? Hello? Anyone? Yeah. Unfortunately, exclusive third-party support for Stadia was very thin. They launched with one exclusive title, Guilt, and over the years only gained a handful more. Unfortunately, these games didn't highlight the necessity of the service. Almost nothing on the platform ever really took advantage of cloud-based streaming technology. I mean, yeah, you could stream games, but all the games looked like games you could already play elsewhere. What a waste. Oh, there was one very notable exception though, a third-party title whose version was different to its peers, and it should have been a driving factor for the Stadia service. We call this
the Cyberpunk 2077 surprise. A brief side tangent.
For one tiny moment in the entire history of Stadia, something seemed to go right, and it happened totally by accident. Cyberpunk 2077 launched, and it launched bad. The game was riddled with bugs and was virtually unplayable on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. Even some PCs with great specs failed to run it properly. Cyberpunk was a mess. I personally witnessed loads of issues when I played it at launch on multiple platforms. But a rumor spread far and wide, one that built and rumbled through the entire gaming community. Cyberpunk 2077 ran perfectly on Stadia. Sounds too good to be true, right? Well, it's a...
Wait, was Cyberpunk 2027 ever actually patched? Yeah, I didn't play it. Yeah, I just saw the... I mean, I owned it, but I never played it because, well, I didn't really have time, and I saw only the horrible screenshots, and yeah, that was kind of a turn-off. So yeah, I don't know if the game was ever patched or not. Yeah, maybe I should play more games.
Little truth and a little lie as well. See, Cyberpunk 2077 was ported to Stadia by a company called QLock. This port ran in a specific way tailored just for Stadia. Being a port, it wasn't going to have the exact same problems you saw on other platforms. This led to a brief moment in time where everyone thought Cyberpunk was best played on Stadia. Oh, the game was still broken. It crashed, it had bugs, but sometimes different ones. From my own experience, the Stadia port of Cyberpunk 2077 seemed to dial back aspects of the game to push performance. That might have led to it being considered a more stable platform. But in reality, all you have to do is take a look at something like the city streets and, well, look, they're super empty. You plot PC gameplay of Cyberpunk 2077 side by side against Stadia, and I mean, come on. Google tried to promote playing Cyberpunk 2077 on Stadia by offering the base hardware for free. All the customer had to do was buy the game on the Stadia platform, and Google would send them a free Premiere kit. Whew, that's nice of them. But then, likely, it resulted in the company giving away costly hardware to play a game that was very unstable at the time, regardless of which platform you played it on, which wasn't a wise move considering our general Stadia experience was already pretty problematic. Have an issue playing? Is it a Cyberpunk problem or a Stadia problem? You don't want players trying to figure that out because in the end, they'll blame both. Anyway.
Well, I think we'd mostly blame the Cyberpunk, but Yeah, both is probably candidate. I think this is basically just one of those instances where everyone just agreed to disagree.
I digress. Stadia opted to focus on providing games already available on other systems in lieu of making first-party titles. And it almost worked. They got some attention for a tweaked but flawed Cyberpunk port. Now, as long as they continue to expand their user base by spending a heck of a lot of time, budget, and effort advertising their product, the Stadia project could have a fighting chance.
Problem 3. Stadia stopped talking about Stadia.
Stadia stopped making announcements at large events like E3 and the Game Awards, and they also halted their direct-style Stadia Connect showcases. Exclusives just kinda dried up. Even when games did come out, there was no fanfare and virtually no coverage due to bad PR and shifting management. This, of course, did not bolster adoption of the service or enthusiasm from the player base. When users invest time and money into a platform, and that platform fails to treat them well or show a clear path to its future, those users are gonna feel burnt. Do you know how bad messaging got? Google decided to repackage the Stadia streaming tech and shop it around to companies like AT&T and Peloton. And they did this without telling anyone. Eventually, it went public in February 2022, reported on by every tech journalist with an internet connection. They might not be able to run Stadia, but they sure as heck could talk about it. What Google was secretly doing was transitioning the technology that powered Stadia to a white label.
I mean, to be fair, it is much easier to message people than it is to play a game online. This is fact. Yeah.
Service called Google Stream. Originally reported by Business Insider, sources had said Stadia had been deprioritized within Google, and there was reduced interest in securing exciting third-party games. Well, this didn't sound good for Stadia gamers, and it got everyone scared that this was the first, or second, or third, I don't know, I kinda lost count, step.
Yeah, both of them.
Towards them axing the platform entirely. Did Team Stadia and Big Daddy Google come rallying to dissuade those fears? Kind of. Publicly, a spokesperson for Google said the company was still focused on bringing great games to Stadia in 2022. And the official Stadia Twitter sent out a vaguely positive tweet.
If you hear one thing, hear this. The Stadia team is working really hard on a great future for Stadia and cloud gaming. We hope you agree, and we know the proof is in the playing.
Don't know.
Yeah, they shut down later. Oh, shut it. You know damn well that happened.
About you, but it doesn't feel like their heart is really in it at this point. But what's worse than silently disowning the name of your own service? How about when the face that champions said service goes silent just 5 months after launch? Exhibit A, April 24th, 2020. Stadia Vice President and General Manager Phil Harrison retweets an ad for a Stadia Connect event. Exhibit B, absolutely nothing else for 2.5 years. Nothing about games or the Stadia platform, not even a slight nod to the community. The last nail in the promotional coffin, despite some smart TVs supporting the Stadia service, Google itself refused to put the platform on their own hub devices. That's right, Google, the company that created Stadia, chose not to endorse their own game streaming platform on their own products. Something we mentioned in our previous video, and that never changed. And TVs that supported Stadia are not even that common. I've got 4 smart TVs, and not one of them seems to have the ability to run Stadia natively without buying extra hardware. I don't understand that. How could they not have just released an app for every smart TV they possibly could? It's a huge miss. Even the Logitech.
Yeah, that's another thing with that kind of doomed the Stadia. Smart TVs were practically dominating the market they were trying to appeal to. Let's be real here. Chances are, TV would have ultimately made Stadia pay fees just to host on their own televisions. But I hope that makes sense.
Tech G Cloud, a handheld gaming system tailored specifically to video game streaming, didn't mention Stadia in its original press release. Let's see, there's Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, Nvidia GeForce Now. Why no Stadia? Must have got an early scoop about, this. Stadia tripped right out of the gate, failing almost instantly to create a lasting impression. Did the service pique interest and make headlines when revealed? Sure. There were press conferences and ads. The ads could have been better, but heck, I was interested. Unfortunately, after the wave of initial excitement,
I mean, it's still better than the Ouya ad. Let's be real here. It's cringe, but we kind of knew that from the get-go.
advertising trickled to a halt, and there were very few attempts to reach gamers outside of Stadia's established base. To put it simply, Google didn't do much to keep people talking about Stadia, and this baffles me. They went through all that time, cost, and effort to raise awareness from reveal to launch, only to dial it back when the platform needed it the most. But soon, Stadia was practically handed a world that needed their product.
Problem 4. People didn't use Stadia in circumstances that should have had people using Stadia.
Pardon me for having to beat around the bush in this next part, but it plays into the Stadia story in a very telling way. Let's go over a little timeline. Stadia was formally announced in March of 2019. The Stadia platform was officially launched in November of 2019. Hooray! Google says it's the best way to play the newest games. Fast forward. A few months later, everyone is bound to their home. Yes, we all know why. And most flock to the internet for entertainment and our connection to the world, looking to keep our minds busy. Gamers starved for an infusion of exciting new gaming experiences surrounded by console hardware that was getting long in tooth. So of course, enter Xbox. Yes, November 10th, 2020, the Xbox Series S and X are released. Stock sells out, nigh impossible to find. November 12th, 2020, the PlayStation 5 is released. Stock sells out, nigh even more impossible to find. Both console manufacturers struggle to release more product because the world is reeling from a global chip shortage that began in early 2020. And what did Stadia do to capitalize on this? Nothing. Nothing.
Yeah. That is the dumbfounding part. Stadia had practically the biggest situation tailor-made for a console that would have specifically benefited from a chip shortage and a pandemic. They didn't do jack shit. You'd think this company was allergic to money or something.
At all. It's ludicrous. It's indicative of issues that go far beyond internet connections, beyond exclusive game droughts, beyond advertising and marketing failures. It points to problems like...
Problem 5. Stadia didn't understand what builds platform investment.
Google positioned Stadia as a new competitor in the game space, a video games platform that seeks to push away a reliance on local hardware. Now, on paper, it's fine. Stadia plans to make games accessible and easy to play. It makes sense. But even if that worked, a user base doesn't just pop into existence. It takes planning and time to grow. The folks behind Stadia basically said,
"Why buy the game on the box you already own when it plays better on Stadia?"
Well, maybe the box uses the controller they like, or maybe they like the way things are laid out when they start a play session, or maybe that's where their friends continue to enjoy playing their games too. Microsoft, Sony, Nintendo, even PC players, all of the traditionally hardware-centric systems have built communities of highly invested players because they were able to give players time to enjoy games while the platforms themselves continue to grow and evolve.
Yeah, you'd think after all the YouTube killers that ultimately popped up a while back, people would understand that. Sadly, in the realm of capitalism, no one learns shit. Ah, that sounds deeper than I want it to be. Yeah, well.
Creates a strong bond. Players were never going to immediately jump from lineages of game hardware that they invested time, money, and had amazing memories with solely for the perceived ease of use and fidelity that Stadia offered. The gaming experience is so much more personal than those factors alone. If a games company creates an inventive product and takes the time and care to continuously make that product better, a community will grow. But Google didn't give those things to Stadia.
The beginning of the end, the shutdown rumor.
On the week of July 29th, 2022, another rumor spread from a Stadia fan group that Google wasn't willing to continue the Stadia service and was looking to sunset the consumer version of the streaming platform by the end of the summer. Now, typically, rumors like this wouldn't hold much weight if someone were to say the same thing about a seemingly healthy and strongly supported platform, like the Nintendo Switch.
My dad's best friend's son's cousin's babysitter said they were at a Wendy's in New Jersey, stuck in a bathroom stall cleaning their shirt after getting covered in grease. They heard someone crying in the stall behind them about how Nintendo was doomed and that the Switch was gonna have to get completely canceled. They got on their tippy toes and peered over top the stall to see who it was, and bam! Shigeru Miyamoto of Nintendo, right there on the toilet, New Jersey, Wendy's.
No, you wouldn't exactly believe that, would you? And not just because Miyamoto-san wouldn't be caught eating anything but noodles. That Stadia shutdown rumor continued.
I mean, it'd be one hell of a meme, though.
To balloon. And why? Well, we heard virtually nothing from Google about Stadia. Google continued to have a bunch of very large public events where they would talk about their services and products, but at the majority of them, they never really talked about Stadia. And to say that Google has a history of quickly dusting away products and ideas is putting it delicately. Their messaging with Stadia had been quiet. So quiet that a lot of consumers that had followed Stadia at the beginning already believed it to be dead. So a rumor that Stadia was closing up shop? Not the hardest pill to swallow. Google eventually got around to addressing the rumor, but folks still couldn't believe it. That is until Thursday, September 29th, 2022. It happened. I mean, really, we all knew this was coming, right? Phil Harrison made a post stating that they made the
yes. Called it! Heard round the world.
difficult decision to begin winding down the Stadia streaming service, and that players would continue to have access to their games library and play through January 18th, 2023. It's about a week before.
Yeah, was anyone really surprised that happened? Fucking billion-dollar companies, man. Or trillion-dollar companies in Google's case.
Stadia turns off for good, and I'm trying to play Trials Rising, but when I start it up, it just gets stuck on this loading screen. I tried to reload the game, but it still got stuck. It just won't stop loading. And Destiny 2? Don't even get me started. The game took 3 tries to actually get to work, and when it finally did start up, there was no sound. Look, the volume is up at 100%, but you can't hear anything.
I mean, to be fair, would you even want to play Destiny?
Then, just a day after this happened, Destiny 2 was completely turned off by Bungie. Oh, you can still log into the game to transfer your character, but you can't play it. This was done randomly without any warning. This was just awful. Then I tried Just Dance 2020. No matter what I did, my phone could not connect to the game. Unfortunately, this makes it completely unplayable. You can't even see the main menu because Just Dance 2020 requires your phone to play. Ubisoft made an announcement that anybody that purchased a Ubisoft game on Stadia will be able to get a free copy on their Uplay service. All you had to do was just log into the game on Stadia and sign up. Problem is that I can't get into these games, so I'll never be able to do that. Believe it or not, even after the announcement that Stadia was going to be shut down, they still continued to release games. Well, not games plural, one game. This one. Basically, it's a version of that really old video game, Snake. From what Stadia described, this game was originally designed to test out features for Stadia internally. It was never meant to be public. The game is really, really hard to play. The latency and input lag is so bad that it's really difficult to play this game. It's not hard, but it's hard to control. I imagine this game will also...
I mean, I've seen major companies screw up Tetris, so I'm not at all surprised that happened.
Disappear into the ether once Stadia goes away, but fortunately, you're not really missing much. Stadia was officially coming to a close. It had been given a stay of execution, but it was just a matter of months before, poof, everyone's games would be gone forever.
It is with a heavy heart that we inform you that we do not have plans to bring Outcasters to other platforms at this time.
Thanks, Stadia. You made this so much worse. For some, they wouldn't even have the luxury of a few months to say goodbye to their Stadia catalog. I lost access to games immediately. I had subscribed to Stadia's Pro membership on and off over the service's lifespan, acquiring a library of Pro games. When Stadia's impending closure was announced, I wasn't actively subscribed. Shocking, I know. I wanted to change that. One last hurrah with the service, but when I tried to hop back in and access those games, nope. They shut down all access to Pro memberships. I was literally unable to restart my Pro subscription, so my Pro library was a no library. I contacted Google support, I spent hours talking to multiple people, and nobody could do anything to help this situation out. I was completely locked out from all of those games. The sad thing about all of this is Stadia is reminding me of another platform. Many a moon ago, there was a video game platform called OnLive. Most of you probably have no idea what it is, but it itself was Stadia. And I'm not joking. Here it is. A streaming box you plug up to your TV and play a game streamed to you from a server. You can even get an application on other devices and play games without the need for this hardware. Sound familiar? Well, it should. It's Stadia, only was released 9 years earlier in 2010.
Introducing OnLive, the fastest way to play top-tier games anywhere. It's all delivered instantly over the internet to you, so you always get the ultimate gaming experience. Whether you're at home on your OnLive game system, at work, or on the road. Experience instant gaming anytime, anywhere.
It failed. But back then, I did play it,
mean,
and while like Stadia, it wasn't perfect.
I mean, yeah, it failed, but I don't remember hating it either. OnLive was basically, an experiment that failed. Sucks, but that just kind of happens in the industry.
perfect, for some it worked. That is, until it went away. Stadia is essentially a repeat of OnLive, failure and all. Remember that Cyberpunk 2077 bundle that included free Stadia hardware? Well look, OnLive also did that first, with a Cyberpunk-style game of all things. Did that work out for OnLive? No, because sending out free hardware means they're losing money. And if you don't garner a growing group of players sticking with your service, it's as good as tossing that dough in a dumpster.
Experience instant gaming anytime.
Yeah, it's like these companies never heard of loss leaders. Just eat the cost and just eat the cost in the right places, and you'll ultimately retain an audience who will make up for the cost. In dividends, even. It's literally how game consoles actually functioned for a good while, up until they didn't. Thank you, generative AI and chip shortages. The generative AI we didn't even fucking need, yet everyone keeps insisting on putting in every product nowadays, but I digress.
Anywhere.
Wherever you are, Stadia lets you play the latest games.
Yeah, that's it. That's the quote, right there. It's a good quote. Stadia should have listened to that quote. No hyperbole, this might be the worst console death we've ever experienced. But as sad as it is for gamers, it's also a big loss for Stadia. For what might be the first time in the history of the games industry that I'm aware of, Google is refunding all hardware and software purchases seemingly at their full initial price point.
Hey there, campers! I'm Mr. Google. I know you're all real heartbroken about Stadia being canceled, so to make it up to you, I'm giving you back all of your money! That's right! I'm not keeping a penny unless you subscribe to Stadia Pro. Then you get nothing. Bought a game? You get a refund. Bought some hardware? Refund! Shh, don't tell anyone, but I'll let you keep the hardware too. Doesn't matter to me. What am I gonna do with it? Use it to play other video game services that are still around, or use it as a doorstop. It doesn't matter to me. I'm Mr. Google. You give me money, and I give it right back to you, because I'm better than a bank. I'm Mr. Google.
Stadia will be refunding hardware in the games purchased. They will not be refunding Stadia Pro, which is even more of a burn on me. They just keep punching me when I'm down. However, even though they are doing refunds, I want everyone to fully understand something. While this may seem generous, this was not done simply because Mr. Google loves you. We shall never speak of this again. It was likely done to avoid legal ramifications. If customers get their expenses back, there is less likelihood of a class action lawsuit. Some of you might even argue that it's a tax write-off, but it doesn't matter. As we're sure Google has found out by
They would really think their paying a legal team was actually a far better investment than actually trying to build a user base with their console. Classic Google move right there. Sometimes I wonder if there's actually a lawyer shortage I don't know about.
now, cloud gaming is expensive. It can be enticingly cheap for consumers, but video games require much more capable hardware to run, and a lot of it. So if you asked me what it would take for cloud gaming to work, well, I don't have to think hard to give you that answer. Xbox did it. Xbox Game Pass Ultimate allows you to stream a game from a server, download a game. Downloading can be essential for
That one didn't age quite so well.
some folks. Purchase a game, pay a monthly fee to access a game, use local console hardware to play the game, play from a phone, play from a laptop or a PC, whatever you want to do. It's choice. The question isn't, will cloud gaming ever work? Because yeah, it does. We've seen it work. Even Stadia got games streaming to people. I think the real question is, can you make enough money solely as a game streaming service to keep that service going? And I believe the answer to that question as of today is no. Well, goodbye, Stadia. You were something else. We've never had to make 3 videos about the same one product before, but that's how epic your misfire of a life was. In hindsight, it's a little sad that after all the dust has settled, there will be no growth to some future niche Stadia fan community. It simply can't exist. Remember when we mentioned other failed game consoles sharing a commonality Stadia will never have? When a console unfortunately kicks the bucket like the Dreamcast did, sure, there's a little hardware upkeep to consider, but at least people still have access to a system and their games. And why? Well, the hardware and games are local. That's not so for Stadia. The moment the service goes offline, it's a permanent game over. That failed service will likely only live on in the memories of those that got to experience it firsthand, or in the many YouTube videos out there that had the pleasure of covering it. Like this one. Don't forget, this thing suffered the same fate, and I'm sure plenty of you were completely unaware of OnLive's existence because of that. It's barely talked about now. However, the results will be the exact same. A budding community can't grow from salted earth, or shut down servers, or whatever. I hate to see it end this way, but the lights are shutting off at Stadia HQ, and they won't be flicked back on ever again. No, they're not coming back from this. Gaming with Stadia is officially over.
I have a to go now. My planet needs me.
Yeah, that was the Re-Rez's video on the end of Stadia. It was just as big of a clusterfuck as I remember it. Hey, well... yeah, let's go ahead and... yeah, let's see what else I have. Yeah. I think I'll go ahead and just play some Donkey Kong music since I'm kind of almost done with the line art here. Ah yeah, classic Donkey Kong music. Always a good song. Yeah, what else? Oh yeah, 90 minutes. No problem. think we're almost done here, actually. There we go. Oh, I'm drawing my Indeeditar. Yes, her name's a pun. Okay, so now reset. I mean, Shaman is a pretty good fodder for a tar. I do not envy. Oh, where's that? Sliders. Yeah, perspective here is a bit wonky, but we'll just go up part of the aesthetic. Yeah, almost there. Alright, there we go. 'Tis fan service. Well, with that, I think I'm going to go ahead and call this stream for tonight. I'd like to thank everyone for coming, and I will see you all next time.